Welcome to Leadership Quarterly. This quarter, I want to talk with you about keeping on point. In order to keep on point, there are three musts that we have to incorporate. The first one is we must know the point. Second of all, we need to make sure the point is sharpened. And third, we need to make the point the point. Let's talk about keeping on point by knowing the point. The point is the Great Commission in the spirit of the Great Commandment. That is the point. We need to fulfill the Great Commission in the spirit of the Great Commandment. In 2007, the Indianapolis Colts, who were then coached by Tony Dungy, went to and won their first Super Bowl. On that team, there were only 3 players that had ever been to a Super Bowl before. So Coach Dungy asked if those 3 players would address the team in the week leading up to the Super Bowl. Those 3 players said this to the team: "Going to the Super Bowl is a fun and exciting event. However, going to the Super Bowl, the point is to win the Super Bowl." What they were trying to say is that if you went to the Super Bowl only to enjoy the fact that you made it to the Super Bowl, you would miss the point. You have to know the point. The point is to win the Super Bowl, not just to go to the Super Bowl. The point is to fulfill the Great Commission in the spirit of the Great Commandment. That was the point in Jesus' day, and that continues to be the point today. We must know the point, fulfilling the Great Commission in the spirit of the Great Commandment. Secondly, we must keep the point sharpened. Now, I know today that most of us use an iPad, an iPhone, a computer for most of our writing, but we still have pencils that we use. Now, there are 2 things that I know about a pencil. The first one is this: for a pencil to be effective, it needs to be sharp. The sharper the pencil, the more effective it can be. But I also know this about a pencil, that when you use a pencil for its intended purpose, it becomes dull. Therefore, you have to go back and you have to sharpen that pencil again. It's the same thing about fulfilling the Great Commission in the spirit of the Great Commandment. That's what we're about. That's what we should be doing. But by doing what we should be doing, we can become dull. We can become dull because we become weary in doing good things. We become weary in the fact that sometimes our people will come back and say, well, does it really have to be about the Great Commission? What about us? And the way that we sharpen that point again is to go back and spend time in Scripture and see about the Great Commission. The way that we keep that point sharpened is that we also spend time in prayer. The way that we keep that point sharpened is to be engaged in our community. The way that we keep that point sharpened is by realizing the grace that God has extended to us, and we have the privilege and opportunity to extend to others. Thirdly, we need to make the point the point. Now, if I was to ask you, what would you think of if I mentioned McDonald's restaurants to you? It would be my thought that somewhere in the top 10 you would say Golden Arches, because that's an iconic visual of McDonald's restaurants. Many times we could just see 2 golden arches and we think immediately of McDonald's. However, there is one McDonald's that I'm aware of, and it's the only one in the world that does not have golden arches. In fact, this McDonald's has teal or turquoise arches. It actually is located in Sedona, Arizona. Now, if you've never been to Sedona, Arizona, what you need to know is this: Sedona is located in and surrounded by beautiful red rock formations. In fact, we have a church there, and Pastor Frank Robinson, who is the current pastor, when I was visiting one time, took me to see the teal or turquoise arches. And here's the reason that McDonald's, and only that McDonald's, has teal turquoise arches. It's because when McDonald's decided they wanted to go into Sedona, the city council of Sedona said to them, if you come here, you cannot have golden arches. And the reason for that was because the golden arches would contrast or conflict with the red rocks, and they didn't want that. Now, when the city council told McDonald's Corporation that, McDonald's could have had this response: well, then we're in trouble, because we're about golden arches. We have to have our golden arches. People see us with golden arches. When they see golden arches, they think of us. If we can't have our golden arches, then we just won't come. Well, you know what the city council of Sedona would have said? Then I guess you're not coming. But instead, McDonald's made the point the point. Even though they would have preferred golden arches, that wasn't the point. The point was to make and sell hamburgers in order for them to make money. That was the point. The point wasn't the golden arches. And by simply being able to go to turquoise options, they can make the point the point. The point being selling, making, and making a profit. That was the point. We have to understand the point. We have to make the point the point. The point is fulfilling the Great Commission in the spirit of the Great Commandment. The point is not to have church services. The point is not just to entertain ourselves. The point is not to have programming. The point is to fulfill the Great Commission in the spirit of the Great Commandment. We have to make the point the point. We need to keep on point. We keep on point by knowing the point. The point is fulfilling the Great Commission in the spirit of the Great Commandment. We keep on point when we keep the point sharpened, which means we have to keep reminding ourselves that we're about fulfilling that Great Commission, the spirit of the Great Commandment, by spending time in Scripture and with the Lord and knowing what He would have for us to do. We keep on point when we make the point the point. And what we have to understand, anything that we do that does not compromise the Great Commission, that is something that we can change, because that will help us make the point the point. It is my privilege to partner with you in this great endeavor. The mission of the Pacific Southwest Movement is to create a culture where leaders in local churches can fulfill the Great Commission in the spirit of the Great Commandment. That is where my privilege to partner with you lies, to work together in mission fulfillment. Let's work together to keep on point.